Are you ready, Ninja Babe? Ready to face your fears, to ignite your passions and break through your limitations? Are you ready to get out of your comfort zone and go after your dreams with unstoppable force? It's happening here on the Ninjababes podcast, the place where women spill it all about self-confidence, courage, and body image. This is where we show our strength. This is the sisterhood where girls gather to empower themselves and each other. Get ready to get rocked, because this is where you come to be encouraged and be transformed in order to live out your full potential. Be proud of yourself, Ninja Babe. Now let's get after it. Hey, Ninja Babes. Today I'm here with Kelsey Rudzinsky. Hey, Kelsey. What's going on?
Hey, Kara. What's up?
I'm just enjoying a snack. I just came back from a workout, and now I'm talking to you.
Cool.
Where are you? What's going on?
I am on St. Thomas in the U.S. Virgin Islands. Kind of just got back from a workout, walking home from the beach, which is a workout for sure.
That sounds really magical. Actually, if you are like quiet for a second, you can hear a bird chirping in the background. It's like amazing.
Yeah, they're super.
Can you hear that?
Loud. Yeah. Could you hear it?
Yeah, I could hear it. Oh,
and
man.
That's like through my headphones, through the window. Like, yeah, it's a magical place for sure.
That is so cool. I wish I was there with you. I really, really do. So we're going to explain to everyone why you're on St. Thomas and what you're doing there, but it's like really an adventure story what brought you there. And I'm really excited to explain to everyone the whole journey of how you got there, why you're there, what is happening in your life now. So can you just sort of bring us back to where did this start? I feel like 3 years ago is when your life began to change in this like catalyst that brought you to where you are now. So tell us some more.
Yeah. So, I mean, that catalyst sort of being Ninja, that really changed my life. I feel like I was living a, I guess, normal life where, you know, I had graduated college, I was working, had roommates, I would go out, you know, everything was just sort of like going, time was passing. And then I stumbled upon the sport of ninja and it like turned my whole world upside down pretty much.
Yeah, as ninja does, definitely. I feel like everyone encounters ninja and somehow if you let it, it will completely like change your world in one way or another. So where were you from? Like, where did you actually start doing ninja and all that?
So I'm from Marlborough, Massachusetts, which is like 45 minutes outside of Boston. But I was living in Somerville and working as a nurse. I was working in the hospital and I was looking for a part-time job at a gym. And I stumbled upon this hiring clinic for action athletics in Newton, Massachusetts. And I had no idea what an obstacle course gym was or what a hiring clinic was. So, but I was like, it fell on my day off and I was like, you know what? I'm just going to go check this out. And I actually called before to be like, so am I supposed to wear like interview clothes or like workout clothes? And am I supposed to bring a resume? Like it was, yeah. And then I went and the rest is history, I guess.
I love that. I love when the most like randomly seeming experiences turn into something totally magical and amazing. So you got into ninja from that point on, I guess, like learning and working at the gym.
Yeah. So I started working at the gym and I pretty much started training like the first day that I started working at Action. So I would work the open gyms with the kids and then train at adult open gyms. And like I was instantly hooked. Just like working with Nate and Cherry, and that was back when Joe Dubuque worked at Action Athletics, so he really sort of just like brought me in, and yeah, I was hooked.
Yeah, that's awesome. How far did the ninja world take you? Like, did you end up competing and doing anything like that?
Yeah, so it actually like started off pretty fast and like just took off. So I started ninja in like the beginning of October. That's when I started working at the gym, and then my first competition was at New Era Ninjas in Connecticut, and that was, I think, like mid-November. I had been training and like loving it, and this competition was coming up that people were talking about, and I was like, yeah, I would love to go watch this. And Joe was like, you can compete in it. Like, you can't just go and watch. Like, you're never going to feel ready. Just do it. So I did, and it was awesome. I was super nervous, but it was good. And I actually ended up qualifying for NNL at, I guess, like, now what I know, it was like later-ish in the season. So I think like everybody in front of me had already qualified. So I'm all of a sudden I'm like qualified for finals after my first competition, which was like, really a great feeling. But then, like, as December rolled around and people started talking about submitting for A&W, again, I was sort of like, I'm not ready. Like, I just started, and the ninja community was like, this is just something that we do. Like, everybody applies, just make a video. And it actually was really fun I've never like made a video about myself. So I enjoyed it. And then I ended up getting the call that year. So I competed on season 9 in Cleveland. So that all happened within like the first 6-8 months of me even like discovering that this was a sport, which was like, yeah, it was pretty crazy and incredible.
Yeah, it's just wild how it like snowballed so quickly.
Yeah.
So everything happened so fast. Like, what intrigued you so much about Ninja? Like, why did you love it? And also, I feel like people who do just make a video every year, no matter what, I feel like it's such a cool like autobiography. I think everyone feels that way. That even if you are just applying to just do it, it's like you're happy that you have this video of your life.
Yeah, I've never done anything like that where it's like, and especially watching it back and being like, wow, yeah, that's my life. And like, that's how goofy I am. And like, yeah. And thinking about like what to put in the video. And I feel like I was so new at the time that I was like, I'm just going to be honest. Like, I just want to be myself. And I feel like so I've applied 3 other times, maybe 2, 3. But I feel like that one was like by far the easy, like felt like the most natural one because I feel like I didn't know any better. It was just like totally authentic.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Yeah, then you watch other people's and you're like, well, that person did this in their video and they got a call. So like I need it. And it's just like, yeah. What was the question? did I answer the question?
Yeah. Oh no, sorry. No, I asked you like 3 questions at the same time. What was it about Ninja that intrigued you so much and you wanted to just like jump into it?
Oh my God, everything. I mean, I loved doing obstacles and like the whole like competitive. I've always been very competitive. And so like being able to like push myself and being like, I can do that. And then not being able to do it and trying to learn and watching other people. So that aspect of it, but then like immediately the ninja community just welcomed me in with open arms. And I mean, that's really the real reason. You know what I mean? The ninja community is just like, I feel like cliche even saying it, just like the ninja community is one of a kind, but like, honestly, it is.
Oh, for sure. I don't think that's cliche at all. I think that's like legitimately what it is. That's why all of us get like sucked in.
Yeah. Yeah. Just the people that all of a sudden I was just meeting so many people and just all of them so fascinating and
Yeah.
people from all walks of life, from all ages. I'm learning, all of a sudden I'm learning from these like 12-year-old boys that are like incredible and super strong. And here I am on a Friday night, like hanging out with them and having the best time ever.
That's so true.
Yeah.
What else was going on in your life at this point? Like I'm really excited to get our listeners to like the other side of the story where you're on an exotic island. But I definitely want to like help everyone see like this crazy progression. So you started Ninja and then what was your day job at this point?
Yeah, so it was actually an evening job because I was working as a nurse. So I was working in a hospital doing the evening shift. And yeah, it's weird to really like think back to that because of where I am now. Yeah, so I was working at the hospital and then I would work at the gym on the weekends and just sort of feeling not fulfilled, feeling like something just wasn't right, I guess. I always kind of knew that, but it was like, a super weird feeling to admit that, like, especially a career like nursing where everyone's like, oh, you're a nurse, or like, that's such an amazing career, which it is, but I didn't feel like that.
Mm-hmm.
it just really drained me. And I don't know, I just felt like I always knew I wanted something more, but I didn't know what. So I just sort of kept going.
Mm-hmm.
But I just think, again, like the ninja community, like all the people that I met, and they were all just so inspiring. Like a saying, one of my favorite sayings that just, I don't know, I heard it a while ago and it has always sort of resonated with me, is something that you're a combination of the 5 people you spend the most time with.
Yeah.
And that's just always sort of stuck with me because it makes me think about who I spend the most time with and like how they impact me and my life. And I just feel like being around the ninjas, like, I don't know, it just sort of opened my mind up to so much more. And I realized that like the possibilities in life are endless.
Yeah, I definitely can relate, especially with all the traveling that we do with Ninja. If you're involved with competing and A&W and all that, it's like you find yourself flying all the time and it's just normal.
Yeah. And then it's like you go somewhere new and you meet this like whole new group of people at a gym and you're like, wow, they're just as
Yeah.
awesome as everybody else. And it's just like, it's so cool. And it just like, yeah, that just like totally altered how I saw the world and, you know, the people in it. And yeah.
What did you end up doing then? Did you stay in nursing or like what happened?
So when I left my job at the hospital, I started working as a middle school nurse in Arlington, Massachusetts. I took that job again, like I knew I felt like something wasn't right. I wanted to change. And this job to me felt like it gave me a more normal schedule. It gave me school breaks and summers off, which is the real reason that I took it, which like in hindsight, it's like, that should have been a red flag that like I wasn't going to love this job if I was literally taking it for the time off. But I knew that I loved traveling. So I really wanted like traveling for Ninja, traveling in general. I felt like I was always sort of like making sure that I planned my life outside of work, like as much as possible, doing like fun, awesome things. So
Mm-hmm.
I took the job as a school nurse. And then that first summer that I was working there, I took my first solo trip, leaving the US. I went to Costa Rica for about a month and a half. And that also was like a huge, huge change in my life. Just really sort of rocked my whole world and everything about it. And I feel like I definitely came back a different person. And the best thing about it was that I like wanted to travel again immediately. I found myself like always looking at flights, always thinking of the next places that I wanted to go.
So, you went to Costa Rica by yourself, right? And did you know Spanish or how did that work?
No, I didn't know Spanish. I mean, I knew some. I thought I knew Spanish. I took like 6 years of Spanish in school, and I was like, yeah, I'll be fine. And I got off the airplane, and you know, every Spanish speaking country, they have like a little bit of their own accent, and they have their own slang terms, and you know, people that are fluent speak really fast. So within minutes, I was like, this is not going to be how I thought it was with my language speaking and understanding. But it ended up being fine. You know, it's like, I think that was, if there's really one thing that trip showed me the most, it was how much I can trust myself and like how you can find a way to get through anything. And that was huge for me. I think like being in a country where I didn't speak the language and I didn't know anybody, I didn't really know much about it, and to have like just such an incredible time and like meet so many amazing people and do so many new things really just like showed me that that's the kind of life I want to live.
Yeah. Do you feel like it changed your perspective on what you were capable of doing? Like, did you feel, I know you're explaining how you didn't feel fulfilled in your old job and what you were doing, but did it feel like one of those moments that you just like, wow, like this is changing my whole perspective and it's like opening me up to something new?
Yeah, I mean, yes and no. I feel like on the
Mm-hmm.
trip, I was just like so present and like enjoying every part of it that like I guess at the time I wasn't thinking that. It was more so like towards the end of the trip. And like when I was coming back, I was kind of like, oh, like I can't wait to like, because I didn't really have service when I was there. So I couldn't wait to tell people all this amazing experiences I had and cool people that I met, thinking that like, yeah, I would come back and this would just have like changed me as a person and it would be this awesome life-changing experience and that would be it. But it was kind of like I came back and was like, I want more of that.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Have you ever taken a solo trip?
So a solo trip. I feel like I've had pieces of solo trips or like short solo trips. I went to college in Minnesota and I'm from New Jersey. And so that whole experience of like going away to school wasn't exactly a solo trip, but it definitely opened me up to like I'm navigating this city on my own. Like, yes, I'm making friends and all that, but no family members are like anywhere near me. Like all of that was new. Flying on my own was new. But then after college, I took a lot more work trips, like for interpreting, where I was going to other cities and interpreting conferences and things like that. And with me, I'm a freelance sign language interpreter, so I never was like
Oh,
always,
cool.
yeah. That was my day job before anything with Ninjababes.
Whoa, I didn't know that. That's so cool.
Yeah, thank you. Um,
Wow.
yeah, but so like with freelance interpreting, you don't really work with a company or like other coworkers. Like you hire out through different agencies and things. And so when I would travel for trips, I was like traveling to meet strangers, and then like they would become my team for that week or whatever it was. But um,
Yeah.
that was like exciting, being able to just like go try new things with new people that I never met.
Yeah. What kind of events, or were there like certain types of, do you call it an
Yeah.
event that you would interpret for?
Definitely. A lot of like big conferences for different speakers, whether it was like motivational speaking or like a religious event or like different things like that. Some school trips where like students were doing volunteer service projects in another city for a few months. And
Hmm.
so there would be a couple deaf students on the trips, and we would be there on site to interpret for them, but we would stay in like separate housing and whatnot. So I was
Hmm.
still like staying in like a random place that I wasn't
Yeah.
familiar with, and then like working during the day. Um,
That's so cool. What was your major?
Sign language interpreting.
Oh, I didn't even
Yeah.
know that was a major.
Yep. Yeah.
Wow.
Anybody, we're all those kids out there looking for a cool job. If you definitely, I love interpreting, and it's like you can do such a variety of work, and you meet so many interesting people. So I think it's
Yeah,
really,
that's so cool. It's like your job is literally to help connect people.
yes. Uh
I
huh.
love it.
Yeah. Allowing communication
Wow.
where it wouldn't exist otherwise.
Hmm.
But yeah.
Well, yeah, so I feel like that, I mean, going to college, that's totally getting out of your comfort zone. And I
Mhm.
think those would definitely count as like mini solo trips. But I am like
Yeah. That's,
totally an advocate for solo travel. Like, I think that every single person should take a solo trip in their life, just like to see what happens, go in with no expectations. And I think people would be blown away with how much they learn about themselves and how much they enjoy it. Or if they don't enjoy it, it'll show them maybe like things that they need to work on, because if you can't, be alone with yourself and have a good time, then
mhm.
I don't know. I think,
Right. I feel
yeah.
like when people are able to really put themselves in a situation that you're uncomfortable with, it's something new that you don't know what you're doing, it really takes off all of those comfortable barriers that we put around ourselves as like, that cushion of like, oh, I'm comfortable with this zone, like that comfort zone.
Hmm.
But when you take it away, it's like you test your limits, you grow so much, and you come away from it just feeling so empowered and like liberated. And sometimes it doesn't go well, and then you're like, wow, I that's my limit, I don't want to do that again. But you still learn, and it's still like an experience that is going to benefit you some way.
Yeah, exactly. And that's sort of like with that first trip, I went in, like I had to book my return flight because of like visas, and you have to show that you're going to be leaving the country. But I went there telling myself, like, if after a week I've had enough, if after a day I'm like, oh, this was a bad idea, I don't feel comfortable, I don't, I would just go home. You can always go back to that comfort zone, but I don't know. It's hard because it was a few years ago now, thinking back to like what got me to actually do it, but I'm so glad that I did.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think everybody should take a solo trip in their life.
For sure. So then what did you end up doing after that trip? Did you go back to your job or like what was next?
Yeah, so I went back to my job, and like I said, I sort of found myself always like looking up flights and thinking of where I was going to go for my next trip, and sort of fast forward a bit the following summer. So this past summer, my friend and I drove across the country. We drove from Boston to San Diego, and she flew back, and I rented an apartment in San Diego where I lived for the whole summer. And during that time, I just spent so much time like alone, really reflecting and doing a lot of like soul searching. And I listened to like hours and hours of podcasts, and just sort of had this revelation of like, I love traveling. Why am I not doing that full time? Like, that's what I want to do. So what am I waiting for to do it? Like, I should just do it. And so I made the decision then that I was going to quit my job. I had 2 weddings that were happening that following fall in Boston. So I knew that I was going to have to be in Boston. So I did go back to working at the school the following year, knowing that I was going to give my notice in December, that's when I was going to stop working after the weddings. And it's interesting because I feel like so much of like all of this had to do with my mindset and my thoughts, and it's really shown me like how powerful our thoughts are, and that, you know, when we speak our thoughts and they turn, you know, just from ideas in our head to words being spoken, they really come alive. And the more that you think about things and you're focused on them, you sort of manifest them. So it was kind of like, even with the Costa Rica trip, it was like I had kept telling people like, yeah, I'm going to travel all summer. And then that would turn into like, yeah, I think I'm going to go to Costa Rica this summer. And like, then as it got closer, I'm like, I remember thinking to myself, like, am I actually going? Because like, I need to book a flight if I'm going. But I had been thinking about it so much that at that point, all I had to really do was like push the button to book it. And so sort of the same thing happened with quitting my job, where I was like, yep, I'm quitting in December. I'm quitting in December. And then as it got closer, I'm like, am I doing this? Like, all right, I just have to do it. And so it's like, I just did it. But it really showed me the more that I thought about things and just believed in myself, then all you have to do is just do it.
Right, because there's a huge difference between like, oh, I wish I could do this, or like, I hate my job, I should just quit. But like, you don't actually do anything about it. Like, it's a,
Right.
yeah, I don't know. It's just like mind blowing to think of actually like giving up your life in a way and like going to do something completely different. But it's
Oh my God, it's
so,
so mind blowing that this is even like my life. Like, I go through that every day because, I mean, obviously there's so much more that, you know, went into it. Like, I didn't re-sign my lease on my apartment, and I moved in with my uncle so that, you know, I wasn't in a lease, and I sort of had some flexible living arrangements. And then I sold all my stuff, and like, it was just a super weird process
yeah.
leading up to it. Then that all of a sudden, and I didn't know really what I was going to do after I left my job. So that's sort of another part of it. I knew I wanted to travel and I loved traveling, but I've really always been like a planner and, you know, like had all these things lined up. And I really wanted to like feel what this transition of leaving nursing felt like, because that, you know, I was like, there might be a chance that the day after I quit, I'm like, what did I do? Like, and freak out. But I wanted to feel that because, you know, it's like I was trying something new and going into this unknown territory. And it's like, worst case scenario is that I go back to nursing. And that's what I was living right now. So it's kind of like there was no way that I could lose. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. Once you're that invested, it's like something good is going to come out with it if you're going all the way through with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. It's like, if you, again, like if your thoughts are positive, like I knew that like people would ask like, what, you're quitting your job? Like, what are you going to do after? And I'm like, I don't know, but like, I know whatever it is, it's going to be amazing. And I would literally say that. And
Hmm.
that's what I would think. And so it's like, if you tell yourself and you believe that like good things are going to happen because that's all that I'm going to allow happen, you know, and it's like, that doesn't mean that bad things aren't going to come up along the way, or you're going to run into some obstacles, but like you just keep going.
Yeah, because imagine how much different it would have been if you were like all hyped and you were like, yeah, I'm going to quit my job. I'm going to just do something that's more fulfilling. I'm not sure what it is yet, but I'm going to do it. But then you did it. And then you were like, what am I doing? I'm so stupid. Like, why did I quit my perfectly fine job? Like, I'm an idiot. If you just got stuck in that kind of a thought process, nothing good would have come out of it. You would have ended up like groveling, like going to your old
I
job.
would have just been homeless and unemployed.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
and bored.
Right. So then what did you do after that?
So after I didn't have a job, I booked a one-way flight so kind of, again, the same thing where I feel like this is totally a recurring theme with my thoughts, and sort of just like having a dream and then speaking it into existence, and then that sort of helping it become real. So I found myself saying to people a lot when I would get the like, you're quitting your job? Like, what? And I'd be like, yeah, I think I'm going to move to the Virgin Islands. And like living in Boston in winter, people, the conversation quickly turns from like super judgy to like, oh, that sounds nice. And it was like, I just kept saying it over and over. Like, I think I'm going to move to the Virgin Islands. So then after, a week or so had gone by that I wasn't working, I was like, so am I moving to the Virgin Islands? And I just started looking at flights and booked a one-way ticket. And, once you push that button and you do it, like all of a sudden it's funny because you would think that would be more anxiety provoking, but it's all of a sudden this just like weight off that you're like, it's done. Now all I have to do is pack. like,
yeah, totally. It's funny because the way that you're explaining this, it's making me think of something that happened in my life because before I was involved with like Ninjababes and everything I'm doing now, I was going after modeling and I was going on castings, things like that, because I live close to New York City. So I was just working on developing my portfolio and like going to all the castings and all that. And but I was also working as a sign language interpreter, but because it was a freelance schedule, like I could build my schedule around days that I wanted to go to try to audition for things. So there was one day though that I was interpreting, and I was interpreting at a college class for the semester, and it just so happened that like this one day in September, it was my birthday, and I was interpreting, and at the end of class, the student who I'd never spoken to before came up to me and she was like really adamant. She was like, "I know I've seen you before." And I was like, "Well, yeah, I've been interpreting in your class the past like 3 weeks." She was like, "No, no, no, like I've seen you somewhere." And I was like, I really don't know where you've seen me besides like on campus. But she kept like being like, no, 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 like I've seen you. And her eyes were like bugging out of her head. And I was like, I don't know what you're talking about. And she was like, I've seen you on a commercial. And I was like, at that point, like I hadn't been in anything like that she would have seen like that. And I was like, I don't know. But then she said it again and I just like stopped arguing. And I was like, yes. I was like, you are going to see me in a commercial. Like it hadn't happened at that point. But at this point, she was being so like strangely adamant that I just like took it. And I was like, yes, you've seen me. I'm in commercials. And I just like kept saying it. And she's like, yeah, you are. And it was kind of bizarre because I like, she never was like, oh no, wait, you're right. It wasn't you. Like, you know what I mean? She never like refuted anything she said, but she clearly like hadn't actually seen me anywhere unless it was just like a vision. Like she had a dream or like a vision or something. Like, I don't know. But
how old was she? Is this like a child?
She was,
or
no, not a small child. She was like 21.
Oh, this one's like, it's kind of creepy.
Yeah, I mean it's a college class, but it's community college, so some of the students are a little bit older if they're like starting college later or whatever. So she had to be like 20 or 21.
Okay.
And so then fast forward. So this was on my birthday, and so like after I just sort of was like, yes, girl, like you're speaking into my life, like that's what I was thinking. I was just kind of like took it as like a weird birthday present. Like I was like, yeah, this girl's like speaking really positive things over my life. And so fast forward a couple years later, now I've started Ninja Warrior, and I was still casting for stuff. And this was like the beginning of my ninja career. And I went in for a photo shoot. I got hired for a mattress photo shoot. I really didn't know like too much about the company besides that. But when I got there, they were shooting photos and stuff, and it was going really well. And the videographer was like, "Hey, do you speak? Like, can you speak lines? And we might shoot a commercial with you like right now." And I was like, "Really? Okay, yeah."
Whoa.
Like, I was like, "Actually, I just started a podcast. Like, yeah, I could definitely speak." And they're like, "Haha, cool." And then they were like, "Wait a second. I think we heard that you're part of American Ninja Warrior, right?" Because this was like after my first season on the show.
Mhm.
And I was like, "Yeah, I competed on American Ninja Warrior. I started this thing called Ninjababes." And they're like, "That's really cool." They're like, "Maybe we can tie that into the commercial." And so, like, long story short, this was Sleepovation, the company that now works with me. I'm like contracted with them, and they sponsor the podcast. Like, they do a lot for Ninjababes.
Mhm.
But so I was there at this shoot, and they shot this commercial. It went really well. And they were, after the commercial aired on like social media and YouTube and all that, they came back to me, and it was supposed to just be like a one-time photo shoot. But they came back to me and they're like, "Your commercial did really well. We would like to bring you back and keep working with you." And so the weekend that they actually like instated this kind of like a contract with me and started working with me, they gave me a mattress as like part of my initiation into like being a model for their company. And they did this like unboxing video where I got the mattress in my room and I opened it up and I like do this video for YouTube about like what is the mattress like. But that was on my birthday. I got the
Whoa.
bed for free, like as part of payment on my birthday, and I made the second. This one wasn't as much of a commercial as just like an unboxing video,
Mhm.
but it dawned on me. I was like, wait a second. I'm all of a sudden like doing all these cool things with this company, and they shot a commercial with me that like went really, really well, and so the company wanted to keep me. And I like remembered what that girl said to me like years ago, and it just like gave me chills. I was like, "Oh my gosh," like, because when she said it, like I didn't know what she was talking about, but I believed her, and I just like kept repeating those positive thoughts into my mind of like, I'm going to be successful, like I'm going to be in a commercial, I'm going, like my face is going to be seen. And the more that I just like believed that, years later it like manifested in this totally bizarre way.
That's so cool. And that it was
Yeah.
on your birthday. That was like
Yeah.
totally the universe coming full circle.
Right. It was really wild. And
Whoa, that's a super cool moment.
yeah. And I'm so
Whoa.
thankful to their company. Like I love their bed and their pillow. Like I literally sleep with them every night. But like the company has
Yeah, I think I've seen, was Mark Prime a part of that?
Yes, we did. We had a ninja. We had a full
I think I've seen Mark Prime like jumping onto a bed or something.
Yeah. We had a full ninja video. They asked me if I wanted to direct one of the little commercials, and I was like, yes. And so I pulled together like 20 ninjas, and we made this incredible ninja commercial in Center Court, Chatham, at the gym. And it's so funny. It's on YouTube. I'll definitely put the link in the show notes of this
Oh my God,
episode.
please do. I've never seen the whole commercial. I think I've just seen maybe outtakes, or I hope that they made it into the commercial. That's so fun though. And that's so cool. You're like directing a commercial. Like,
yeah, well, they were just kind of
wow.
like, what's your idea for like a ninja focused commercial? And I was like, this is my idea. And it just turned out so well. It was really fun.
That's super cool. Yeah, and totally. I think the power of like positive thoughts and truly believing in yourself like makes you unstoppable.
Absolutely.
That's so cool.
Ninjababes, it was so fun to meet so many of you at the National Ninja League World Finals. Thank you so much for coming on over to the table, to taking pictures, to buying merch, to saying hi, asking me about my shoulder. It meant so much to just meet so many of you. I loved it. I have 2 exciting pieces of news for you. For starters, if you came to the Ninjababes merch table this past month at the National Ninja League World Finals, chances are you got a sample of a Propeller Life product. I hope you used it and you loved it. Well, right now, you can get a special 20% off if you use code NinjaBabes20 at checkout. That means every single product, Energy and Focus, their proteins, amino acids, everything that they have on their website was 20% off until this Sunday, March 8th. All you gotta do is use code NinjaBabes, capital NINJABABES 20. And if you have no idea what I'm talking about, definitely head over to propellolife.com so you can check out all the all-natural, supplements, and products that they have on their website. Great for recovery, for pre-workout, post-workout, or just hydration and electrolytes throughout your everyday. And then my second piece of good news is that if you are anywhere near Center Court Lawrence on March 21st, it's a Saturday, you definitely want to come out to the Ninjababes workshop. We're having a Thought Spirals workshop. So if you listened a while back on the podcast to the episodes of Thought Spiraling, Your Thoughts Determine Your Reality, those episodes are all about the content that I will be teaching at this workshop on Saturday, March 24th at Center Court in Lawrence, New Jersey. Definitely head on over to my website or the Center Court Lawrence website, and you can see links to register there. There's going to be another workshop on April 25th, also at the same gym, Center Court Lawrence. You can sign up now. That one will be focused on comparison. So if you've ever found yourself dealing with comparing yourself to another girl on Instagram or at school or at work or in the gym, and it makes you feel less than or just leaves you feeling discouraged or like you're never going to attain your goals, this workshop actually teaches you how to use those experiences for something positive. How do you change those negative thoughts into something that's going to make you feel excited, motivated about your own life, something that's goal setting and just all around inspiring rather than making you feel worse about yourself. So check out the website to register for those two workshops at Center Court, or if you want to request workshops at your gym, absolutely hit us up. There is an intake form on the website if you go to theninjababes.com/events. If you scroll down, you'll see the workshops tab, and then at the bottom of the listings, a more details button. If you click there, there is an intake form that will just help us gather some general info about what sort of requests you're making, and then we can set up a time to contact you and talk all about what a Ninjababe workshop could be like at your gym. Or you can just go ahead and reserve a day right there on our events calendar. So I can't wait to talk to you about events at your gym. Seriously, I cannot wait to visit gyms all over the country, to encourage you to share my stories, to train with you, to learn from you, and to teach you all about mindset. So head on over to theninjababes.com. All right, let's jump back into the interview. So you still never told us why you're on this island. So I know, so you were speaking about, yes, I'm going to be at the Virgin Islands, and then now you are. So what happened?
I mean, so basically, I booked my flight, and I had heard about this website called Workaway. The website is workaway.info, and it's basically a work exchange platform. So you go somewhere and work doing you can do any kind of work for like 20 to 25 hours a week in exchange for free room and board. And part of leaving my job and not really knowing what I wanted to do afterwards, I really just wanted to try new things and be open to different professions and trying different things just to see what I like. And this really felt like the perfect way to be able to travel and not run out of money and try new things, learn new skills, meet new people. It just felt, again, I really tried to let my feelings and my intuition navigate all of this instead of my mind and, what I thought was right for me and what sounded good, just sort of what felt right. And this volunteer program just like really always felt right. So I found this Workaway on St. Thomas, and I am currently installing windows and doors on a house.
Yeah, right.
So it's pretty crazy because I went from having like a stethoscope and all these like medical supplies to now I have like a Sawzall and a power drill in my hand every day. And it's wild.
Yeah, I
Super
love that,
cool.
just being able to completely step out of your comfort zone, like step into something new. I know you're there now, and I know you have plans of continuing other trips, like other workaway trips in other places. But what do you feel like you've learned so far, just like in letting go and realizing that you can do anything you want to do? Like, what have you taken away so far?
Oh my gosh. I feel like I've learned so much. If I had to sum it up, I would say really like the energy that you put out into the world is what you'll get back. I think just like being open to new opportunities and meeting new people and being open with yourself, like not judging yourself.
Yeah.
Not limiting yourself based on, your past or what you believe you should be doing or what your family thinks of you, or just really putting out good energy and doing things that make you feel good, like finding those things and doing more of them. And if there's something that like doesn't make you feel good, unless you like really have to, don't do those things.
Yeah. I was just going to say, I think so many people do get in this habit of like doing what they grew up believing was like acceptable to do, or what their parents or other people like pushed on them as this is what you should do, even if it wasn't explicit, if it was just like you grew up thinking that way.
Right.
But then you end up like limiting yourself, and you don't even really realize all the things in life that you might like or might enjoy because you've just never tried it, or you've never put yourself in that situation.
Yes. Yes. And it's like we all are so different and we all enjoy doing different things. Different things feed our souls. And that's what makes being a human so wonderful, is how different we are. And I feel like you need to embrace those differences and that's why I think like going on solo trips and like learning about myself and then like being comfortable being that person, like that's a huge thing. Because when you go somewhere, even though I'm alone, it's like I'm meeting people and I'm always getting asked like, hey, do you want to go do this? Or like, do you want to do this? And it's like finding that balance of like being open to new things, but also like knowing who you are. And it's like, if you know that you don't like going out and drinking at a bar in a new place where you don't know anybody, like don't put yourself in that situation, and be comfortable saying like, no, that's all right. Like I'm going to stay in and like write in my journal.
Yeah.
And, because it's like people are just worried that they're going to get judged or what people might think of them. And once you sort of release all of that and you just like are in the present moment and grateful for where you are and what you're doing, I feel like things really change.
Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah.
And I think that's so true no matter how old you are, even if you're in school still, you're in grade school or whatever. It's like being willing to play an instrument if that's what you really want to learn, but somebody might think it's like nerdy or whatever if all your friends are like into sports, or
Oh, yeah.
or doing art if other people are like, why are you sitting there drawing? Are you
Yes.
emo? Like, no. Like, be creative, like do your thing.
Yeah, like, oh my God. Especially coming from working in a middle school. It's like, especially when you're a kid, if you like unique things, that's awesome. Like, embrace those things. And if there are people that are going to like make fun of you or whatever, like, hopefully one day you'll realize that like that's just them sort of dealing with their own things. And, don't worry about what people think of you, because it's a waste of their energy to be worrying about what you're doing, and it's a waste of your energy to be worrying about them judging you.
Right.
Like, and I think I wish every kid knew that like the things that you think make you weird are what make you so special.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like, in retrospect, I think when you're young and you do things out of peer pressure, or you make decisions based out of what you think your friends will like, or what you're getting made fun of, like you avoid doing something unique because you're getting made fun of for it.
Mm-hmm.
Like when you just follow along with those things, then you end up growing up with these limiting beliefs about yourself, like, oh, I can't do this, I have to do what everyone else is doing or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then you become an adult who doesn't take risks and just like follows the crowd, and you never get out and realize what your full potential for life can be. So
Yes.
no matter how old you are, like being able to challenge yourselves and just be willing to be yourself is so huge.
It's cool that you said that, because something that I've been like thinking about recently is sort of, because of like where I am now and all of these like mental shifts and like internal work that I've done, I guess, I realized like what you just explained, like I was somebody that grew up with those limiting beliefs and like always wanted to fit in and be cool. And like, so I think what's also really cool about that is like, even if you are an adult now or like you're a teenager and up until this point you've lived like that, you always have the power to change that. Like it's never too late. And I think it's like super important for people to know that like no matter where you are, you have the power to change that. And that's incredible.
Yep, that's so cool. Is there anything else that you would want to share with other people about just what you've learned, or like encouragement for other people?
Oh, I feel like there's so much. That is such a loaded question. I'm like, if you mean like travel wise, like yes, get out and see the world, because as embarrassing as this is to admit, I feel like it wasn't until my mid-20s that I really like grasped how big the world is and how many incredible places there are to go and see. Oh my gosh, people should do that. It will change your whole life. Yeah, I mean, I think
Yeah.
there are so many things that I would want to tell people about, like, just
Yeah.
their mentality and believing in yourself and doing the work. It's not like you're going to be like, okay, I believe in myself, and then
Right.
everything changes. Like, it takes work, just like anything, just like training for ninja. It's like you're not going to unlock every new skill in one training session. Like, you have to keep on practicing, and like some days will be worse than others, but like you just keep going. And that's the same thing with like working on your mental health. It's like you're always constantly working at it, and over time, and that's kind of where I'm at now, that I'm like, holy crap, this is me. Like, this is how I feel. These are my thoughts. Like, how did I do this? And it's like I really just kept pounding those positive affirmations and like that positive mentality over and over and over.
Right. And something that we had talked about earlier on our own is just that constant state of gratitude and like being present. And I know this is something that you want to talk more about later over the weekend when we have the Instagram live. Well, you'll be doing an Instagram takeover on the Ninjababes page.
Woo woo.
But yeah, so that the attitude of being really present in the moment and really thinking like, focusing on what's happening now, but being grateful for all the things that are good that day in that moment.
Yes. Yes. So much about that. And I feel like a lot of this stuff, some people think this is like woo woo stuff about, like spirituality and I get that because I used to kind of think that too. But once you give into it, like, and realize how real it is and how much it can change your life, it's incredible. So by not being open to it, like, you're really only limiting yourself. But yeah, I have kept a gratitude journal for a couple years now, and every night I like write down 10 things that happened that day that I'm grateful for. And it's not like I'm grateful for my health, I'm grateful for my family, which I am, but like those are big, broad things. So I feel like writing those over and over, they kind of just like become just like empty words. But little things that happen in that day, whether it's like, oh, my first sip of coffee in the morning, or like I saw this like amazing bird fly and land on a tree like 2 feet from me, and it was just like a super cool moment. And when you are writing those down every night, you find that like throughout the day you're looking for those moments. At the beginning, it's like, I just need stuff to write down tonight, or you're just looking for good things to happen. You'll start having more of them.
Yeah, I like that, being so specific, because I try to practice writing stuff that I'm thankful for and like grateful for, and I'm nowhere near as perfect at doing it every night as I feel like you are. But I sometimes don't think about being that specific, and that is like a game changer. Then you're right, like I would be looking for it and paying attention all day long.
Yeah, and it really makes you stop, and like, especially if it's something that happens, like, and you don't have to do it at night, you can do it throughout the day, but like if something happens in the morning for me, it makes me even more like, oh, I have to remember this. Like, I have all the way until tonight that I have to remember this. So I really need to like, it really makes you take in that moment and like savor it and
Right.
feel it, so that, to try to like ingrain it into your memory so that 12 hours later you remember it. And really doing that throughout your day, it's like then when you go back and recap, you're like, wow, a lot of really awesome things happened today. And those things are probably have always been happening, but you're just not taking the time to pay attention to them.
Right. Totally. Wow. It's been so cool hearing you like explain everything, because there's so much to glean from and like learn from just from your experience, and it's really cool that, and it's like anyone can have that kind of life-changing experience that you like learn so much about. It's just willing to like take those steps to, realize what do you really want to be doing, and like are you ignoring like these desires and dreams that you have just because you think you have to accept like what is currently in front of you.
Yeah, yeah, and it's hard because I feel like I'm not telling everybody to quit their job and to just say like screw everything, like I'm out of here. And then like that is not my message, but it's also like if you do really feel like, one way or another you got to this place and you're in this job or relationship or anything that you just know isn't right, like that is okay, and there's a way out. And let yourself be open to those thoughts and really explore that. yeah, it's super crazy. And even like, I think just like going after what you want, like even this podcast, like I reached out to you because I was like, you know what? I
Mhm.
think that like it would be really cool to like share my story. Instead of being like, well, I don't know, maybe she just like asks people that she thinks are, it's like any thought that could have made me not do it. I was actually like on a hike, mid hike. And I think I told you this, that I like took out my phone mid hike. I'm like dripping sweat and like wrote out this message to you that like I didn't have service at the time, but I'm like, as soon as I'm back, like I'm just sending this to her because what's the worst that can happen? Like she'll say no and then that's fine. But what's the alternative? She says yes. And like, look, here I am on the Ninjababes podcast.
Yeah, and it's so cool, and I'm so glad that you did that, and just, like, the fact that that was the whole thought process and, like, how it happened, that made me even more wanna just be like, "Yeah, come on and tell your story," because I know how, like, deeply convicting everything you've learned, like, has been for you, and just that drive to wanna share it is amazing, I love it.
Yeah, because I just want everybody to go after what you want because that's the only way you're gonna get it. Like,
Yeah,
and it's been really cool, like getting to know you more, and like, yeah, this has been
absolutely.
awesome.
Yeah, well, thank you so much for being on today, like, I'm just super pumped, and I am so excited for everyone to listen to this episode.
Yeah, and I also have started, I feel like I just need to plug this in. I've
Yeah,
started a travel blog.
definitely.
So, yeah, and if people, I'm on Instagram and I always post like weird, funny things. I think they're funny, but just like weird things of my travels and where I am and like encounters with like weird animals that freak me out. So,
Yeah, so where can people find you?
on Instagram, I'm at Kelsey_Rudzinsky.
Yeah, we can link to that. I'll have a link so people can find you.
Be strong, be you, be a ninja babe.